Well, good morning. Ted Goins here, President of Lutheran Services Carolinas. Well, it is June the 21st, 2024, and I have just, in the last couple of weeks, finished our annual tour to LSC. And as I've tried to do each year, I have recorded a version of this for the many people that were not able to come. So if you get a chance to look at this, you're looking at me now. And if it puts you to sleep, I will certainly understand that too. I'm going to share my screen so that you don't have to look at me and just run through this presentation very quickly just to give you an overview of what we talked about in our tour to LSC and to give you a little bit of information about what's going on around the whole organization. So it'll take a minute to jump in here, but I'm going to share my screen and start it from the beginning as a full screen, I think. Here we go. All right. I cannot believe this is the 11th annual tour to LSC. We started this years ago so that I could get into every one of our facilities and communities and operations as best I could, at least annually, to spend more than just a couple of minutes passing through. And we started doing this for a couple of reasons, just so I could get out and hear what's going on and see what's going on around the organization and not completely lose touch. That I could hear from you all, and you know where I'm at if you need me, and also just to share a little bit more about the organization, because we all know the organization by what we touch. So if you work in one of our senior services communities, that's mostly what you know. If you work in foster care, that's mostly what you know. But we're now over a $200 million a year organization with over 2,500 teammates working across both states. So it has become not just big ministry, but big business. And we have to be both of those things to be successful. So just wanted to run through. I always try to start with our mission and our vision and our values, because that's really, I think, our secret sauce, that we're not doing this to put money in somebody's pocket like an owner, but doing this because we're a faith-based nonprofit organization, and any profits go right back into serving the people that we serve better and serving more people. So our mission, empowered by Christ, we walk together with all we serve. And our vision statement, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly, from John 10:10. We want abundant living for everybody that we serve. And I always try to remember at this point to say that, you don't have to be Lutheran or Christian to serve through Lutheran Services Carolinas or be served by Lutheran Services Carolinas. But we are unapologetically a faith-based nonprofit ministry that started by the Lutheran Church. And so we don't shy away from our heritage, but we're here for everybody. And we use that term, all are welcome, pretty regularly around here. And people of all faiths and even no faith have really been able to wrap their arms around our vision and mission, especially around that thought of abundant living for everybody. Our values are equally important: collaboration, compassion, excellence, faith, integrity, justice, and respect. If we keep our eyes on the prize, if we keep our eyes on those values and that mission and vision, it's hard to see where we could go wrong. Now, I also love to share pictures, and as a matter of fact, you can see them better here than you could on the when I was doing PowerPoints and all the operations. But I love all the different faces of Lutheran Services Carolinas and all the different ways that we serve, from refugee services to senior services to foster care to developmental disabilities, all the different ways that we serve. The pictures tell the story far better than I could. And you can certainly pause on these pictures to pick out people that you know and the people that we serve. Even Elvis is a supporter. Now, by the numbers, I'm not gonna read these to you, but I did want to point out a couple of things. Down here at the bottom left-hand corner, 555,000 days of care for our seniors, over 500,000 days of care. I cannot believe how that number has grown. We set a record this past year with over 3,400 arrivals in our New Americans program, our refugee resettlement work, because that program has exploded in size now with 7 offices around the Carolinas. We served over 7,500 people, individuals and families through our Child and Family Services program. And these are big numbers, but big is not always the most important thing. For instance, we only served 9 veterans last year, but that's our partnership with the Wounded Warrior Project. These are people that gave their health for our country, and I am so proud to make their lives better, to serve those 9 veterans. Numbers are small, but the impact is great. 114 victims of human trafficking. Those aren't big numbers, but think of the life change that you all, and you get credit for that because you're part of the LSC family. For 114 people, their lives have been changed to be brought out of work or sexual abuse, trafficking, and to be given a better life because of you. I also want to point out that we have over 2,400 generous donors, and that includes many of you, many of us who donate back to Lutheran Services Carolinas. That's very important because we could not do this work. Most of the things that we do not pay their own way. And if it wasn't for donors, we could not serve the way we serve and the way we want to serve. And then this is just the same slide in the size of the font is the size of the program in dollars. So obviously the biggest thing we do is skilled nursing. That's through those big Medicare, Medicaid skilled nursing facilities that serve 24 hours a day, provide meals, housekeeping and laundry, activities, everything. It takes a lot. So that's obviously our biggest program. Independent living has gotten a little bit bigger in size, but so have some of our other programs. So again, you can see the bigness of the revenue, but again, even some of our smallest programs like our newer recovery program and adoptions. Think of the impact that you have, even if it's not on that many people. The trajectory in life for that child becoming adopted to their forever home and then moving on to with their family and their family and their family. So you're making generational change here for a great number of people. Now, when I started doing this tour to LSC, I was determined that I was going to share our financials every year because I think this is important for all of us to understand the organization that we work for and where that money comes from and what we use it for. Some people said I shouldn't do that people wouldn't understand all those big numbers, but it's the same situation that we have at home. We've got a checking account and a savings account, hopefully, and the money comes in and the money goes out because we have to pay our bills. Ours might have a few more zeros on the end of it, but it's the very same thing we deal with at home every day. So we still keep things separated just for good order and good accounting between the senior services side and the child and family side. But just to run through those numbers very quick, this past year, and I do this time of year also because just in, I guess, February, we got our, or at the end of January, we got our audit back from our auditors because it takes months to get all that end of the year stuff from September 30th finished to the auditors, then they can analyze it. And they gave us another very good report, that our books are in place and that we accounted for our money properly. Now I can come out there and share that information with all of you, including in this presentation. So this past year, fiscal year 2023 that ended in September 30th, the senior services side brought in $174 million in revenue. So that's everything from Medicare, Medicaid, private pay, insurance, excuse me, even the vending machines. So we bring all that money in and then we start paying our bills out. We paid out $168 million in salaries and benefits and the electric bill and the IT system and everything that we do, water and sewer, everything that all the bills that get paid. So we had a pretty good year this year. We had almost $5.5 million left over at the end of the year. And I'll explain in a minute what happens to that money. And then, as we do every year, we had a little over $1 million in contributions. Those are that extra money that we get in from donors across North Carolina, in the case of senior services mostly. And then on the child and family side, we had a pretty typical year, but actually it was, I think, one of the best years we've ever had. We brought in almost $35 million in revenue. We spent about $35 million in expenses, but we had $127,000 left over at the end of the year from operations. That's almost unheard of. We've always needed those contributions, and we usually bring in about $1 million there. We need that $1 million contribution to make ends meet. So this was a very good year on the child and family side, and congratulations to all of you on that achievement. Now, what happens with the money that's left over at the end of the year? As I said earlier, it doesn't go in anybody's pocket. It actually stays in the organization. It lets us do the other things that we need to do. And most of that is around growth and capital improvements. For instance, all those big facilities that we have, they take a lot of wear and tear. And some of them, one of them was built in 1972, another one in 1976. So, but even our brand new buildings, there's always something broken that needs to be replaced. And whether it's a $50,000 hot water heater, because our hot water heaters cost more than they do in our homes, or buying a van that might cost $80,000, or doing a $2 million heating and air conditioning renovation, all that money is spent out of operating income and sometimes through those unrestricted contributions. So there's never enough to go around. As you can imagine, we've got a couple $100 million worth of buildings. So there's never enough money left over at the end of the year to do everything that needs to be done to make sure everything stays in the best shape that it can be. But we try very hard for our residents and our clients to do that. So we have to do exactly what we do at home. We have to prioritize. Sometimes that van, just like our car, that van has to run another year or two. We might have to patch it up a few times, but we just have to keep it running. Sometimes that, it could cost $500,000 or more to repave a parking lot or to re-roof a building. So a lot of times we just don't have the money like we don't at home, and we just have to put things off till the next year and hope that we can accumulate enough money to do the things that need to be done so that we can continue to provide the services and the quality that we want to provide. Because you got to have quality buildings. You got to have a good van to get people where they need to go. So those are just some of the things that we deal with every day in trying to make ends meet across the organization. But again, it helps when we have a bottom line at all. And there have been some years when we have not had one. So you got to take the good years and the lean years. Something biblical about that too, I believe. This year, and again, I will not read through all of these. You can read those yourself. But we had another great year operationally. First of all, we took care of our residents and our clients. That's number one. If we don't take care of the people that we already serve, then we have not fulfilled our vision and our mission. But we also had some great growth and some extra accomplishments this year. We opened the Myrtle Beach and the Salisbury New Americans program offices. That's for refugee resettlement. We opened a day services program for foster children in South Carolina, which is a fantastic new program. And again, where LSC serves where the need is greatest. We saw the need. The state actually came to us and said, could you help us with this? We began construction on at Trinity Village on 72 independent living apartments. We got Trinity Landing, our big new retirement center at Wilmington is now full occupancy and just going great guns. We opened Trinity Recovery Program, and we launched the free tuition program for RN and LPN degrees in that's open to any employee, any teammate in our organization, in our entire organization. So if you're interested in going back to a community college and get your RN or LPN, we can help you with that. We can make that happen. And then we're launching CNA classes, certified nursing assistant classes, trying to do that in every one of our facilities. So it's been another, I'm blessed to say it's been another great year for the organization. And again, you all get credit for that because you're all part of the team. I do want to point out, well, I'll do that on the next slide, what 2024 holds. More advocacy, you know, I spend and we spend more time on advocacy than ever before to tell the story of Lutheran Services to our state and federal governments, and to let them know what we need to continue to provide the kind of care that we want to provide. We're spending more time on leadership development and our teammate engagement surveys. We're now doing those teammate engagement surveys annually so that we can keep a pulse. And I would encourage each of you, they're completely anonymous, but I encourage each of you to participate because we spend all year working on what we hear in that survey. And I want your voice to be heard in that. As far as leadership development, that came out of that engagement survey. You know, we're all leaders. Every one of us, every one of our 2,500 teammates gets a chance to lead every day in this organization. So we need to all learn how to be better leaders, and we're focusing some of our programs on that. I mentioned the Trinity Village Independent Living. We'll finish that in the fall or winter of 2024. So that's coming right up. One of the reasons that we're building that independent living, and we hope to build some more, this is more of a moderately priced rental independent living for seniors, is because, you know, independent living is one of the few things that we do that actually pays its own way. A lot of our programs are government funded and therefore they're government underfunded. And so it costs us more than we bring in from the government. That's where that advocacy comes from. That's where fundraising comes in. But it also makes us stronger as an organization if we add the independent living that actually helps pay to do some of the other things that we love to do, that we're passionate about in this ministry. So you'll see more independent living coming in the future, as I mentioned in that growth opportunities, that last bullet on there. We'll continue to grow our day programs, our foster care program, our host homes, our New Americans program continues to grow. And most importantly, we'll continue to serve the people that we already serve and spend more time on making sure that we're doing the best job that we can possibly do for those folks. It's kind of hard to take questions when this is videotaped, but that's how I always end my tours to LSC. Those always start with, if there is a third shift, with breakfast with third shift, and ends with this presentation and maybe a resident or client activity. So we'll have to pass on that for this video question, or time, but you know where I'm at. So if you have any questions, please either see your administrator or executive director or your supervisor, or you know where my email is, and you're welcome to email me and I will certainly respond to that. Thank you for all you do. Not for Lutheran Services Carolinas, because we don't mean anything. It's what you do for our residents and clients every day. And I greatly appreciate the partnership that we have as teammates to get that done and to fulfill that abundant living for all of them and all of us. So thank you very much and have a good rest of your day.